Today, I'm transporting this earth fuel stator to Guangyuan. The train is 87 meters long, 5.9 meters wide, 4.9 meters high, weighing 615 tons. We have 7 more days of travel ahead, so everyone, hold on and get started. At 10 o'clock, we'll watch as the equipment comes off the line and is loaded into the car. This time, the equipment we're transporting is from Dayang Dongfang Electric Machinery. This huge car is filled with big treasures, and we have a lot to do. The workshop is full of big treasures, but photography isn't allowed inside, so I didn't take any. You know the role of Dongfang Electric, right? Simply put, 1 out of every 4 degrees of electricity in your home is related to this equipment. The ditch turned unexpectedly, so I secured the equipment on the cradle and adjusted it to the set height, ready for loading. Seeing this picture made my heart surge. I wonder how you feel. At 12:10, we left Dongfang Motor. From now on, we're responsible for the equipment's absolute safety. We returned the equipment to the company last night, and today, we'll take it back again. Today is the day we're going to transfer the cargo to another vehicle that's going to be transported close to the ground, because this time, we're going to have a very limited height of access, and this is called a tug beam. It's a miraculous process to move hundreds of tons of iron to a tug beam, and it's a miraculous process to first level the tug beam with sleepers to the same level as the hydraulic plate, and then to adjust the plate to the predetermined position, and then to loosen the chains on the tie-downs, and then to move a couple of 100 tons of iron, and you're going to have to rely on a small truck, and you'd be surprised to know that that little piece of iron could lift up to 2 tons, and we're going to have to use a truck with a very small gap. And we're going to use 400 tons. It's powered by the hydraulic pressure station. This small, unassuming car can lift 800 tons. After the equipment is lifted, it's dumped onto the rail and replaced by another type of iron, which is added to the rail. This powerful rod is assembled, hydraulic pressure is released, and the rail is allowed to settle. The equipment is moved by the hydraulic pusher, which is formed by a horizontal sliding bar along the rail. After use, the iron is released, the rail is retracted, and the movement is repeated until it reaches the predetermined position, in a manner very similar to that of a certain type of insect. Bug. It's great to see the rails being squeezed and deformed, and to have the equipment moved into position to remove the rails. The hydraulic travel is limited, so you need to lower a level, remove a level of blocks one at a time, and take out the sleepers until the equipment is directly on the trolley girders. Remove the last sleeper, and the knocking sound comes from the line blocks. It's very powerful. The red part is called the Joe's Beam Transporter, which takes the equipment with the lowest possible clearance and lifts it over 2 girders. Then, through the loading towers, the girders spread the weight evenly across 2 4E wheels, distributing the weight effectively. To assemble the main beam, align the 2 side slanting beams to the main beam, connect them with a crane, lock with plugs, hook the pocket beams to the main beam, and adjust the ground clearance using a full-mounted hydraulic pressure plate. Lifting the plates now allows the minimum ground clearance to be nearly 0, distributing the weight evenly and reducing traffic risk. Today marks our departure, and this time, we're embarking on another 7-day journey from the Ningzhi railway station in Guangyuan. Hold on to your seats, and let's go! This red hat is the commander-in-chief of this mission, because the main truck is too long and all the departments can't see each other, so the commander has to give orders through timely briefings from the supervisors of each department. This is where the advantages of the Josh beam come into play. Not only can it fly close to the ground, but it can also raise its legs to raise the night press and keep a safe distance to pass over the small slope. Supervisors on the boards need to monitor the passage of the tucking beams. The lever on his hand controls the lifting, lowering, and turning of the board to catch a wild female riding on it. Now shoot him, he's turning his head to the side. Here, we're going to make a turn. Supervisors will need to stay close to observe the passage. It's a good red light, but we've got a long leg, so we're going to switch from manual to random, which means that the board will automatically change the angle of the tires in response to the direction of the lead vehicle, and then it'll be in cotton bamboo, where law enforcement will be handing it over to the next location. Cotton Bamboo truly lives up to its reputation as a town where aging is evident, and this aged ambience is visible everywhere. As we venture into this intricate town, we see wires that require sheltering and seem to run endlessly. The top wires are tangled, and the surrounding area is filled with elderly villagers observing Tai Chi. Among them, some have long hangings that necessitate being tied up by temporary assistants. Look, there's a car, there's an old man's car, you see? This small car is quite fascinating. When I get older, I plan to upgrade it to a 200 horsepower engine, just for fun. In the Spider-Man area, we finally took a smooth, scenic country road. It was like a playful game of you shoot me, I shoot you. Eventually, we made it to the highway exit. We sped up, racing from Cotton Chuck Shek all the way to Guanyuan. The car owners gathered, parked their vehicles, and began distributing food. Was leader, the food was exceptionally delightful and cheerful. I'm really sorry. I took off the left guardrail, so I can just squeeze through. I am unable to pull it out. Slowly and carefully, I find myself unable to pull it out. If you can't take it down, then knock it down. The right side is at the limit too. Distance to that limit. After passing the intersection, to reduce the curve angle, we must go against traffic at high speed and then turn the car around while maintaining high speed. The machine tilted heavily through the curve, and I worried it might have a problem. Yet, the old masters were calm enough to enter the highway against traffic without safety concerns. Some units had already bet on the incoming car, and the relocating car would turn here, install the relocating bar, and continue to start. We hadn't heard the song whistle for years, facing much trouble getting onto the highway. There's no place for high speed. We'll jump 10 kilometers. Dwarf, there should be another 100 meters. It's safe. Okay, we're running high speed. Our highest point is the lake. The lake's the first meter, 5 meters. Dwarf, you'll have to jump for us. Okay. 90 kilometers to the next stop, so we stopped early. The owner parked in the service area, put the weight on the pillow, and the group got off the highway to stay at a hotel. Except for the first page, the teachers only had one piece of luggage, while I was the only one with a big bag. I put it away and we started. The old driver was strict with timing. If you come to Sichuan, you'll find that old restaurant isn't bad. This is the right season, the right time to go, and we'll be back. When it grows like crazy, the taste is also very correct. Today's best roasted fish. It has a layer of fried and boiled soft. Very tasty. The sky is starting to rise. The colorful sky. Today will be a good day. The teachers change into their uniforms and start a day of running. The bus driver, the first thing he does when he gets on the bus is to boil the day's tea. Next tea. The mechanics don't have electricity, so they bring along a big kettle. The mechanic, Lu Wanyang, is upset because his clothes, which were in an open cupboard, got wet in last night's rain. He will show you the Mianyang Mountains located in the middle of the country. We're going to go against the flow of traffic from here to avoid some of the more unstable areas. It's quite a strange experience to go against the grain at high speed. From here, we enter the downstream lane, where drivers come down to witness the action. Li Jun, the driver of the lead car, has a very wide field of vision and is free from any obstacles. Usually smiling and happy, once in the driver's seat, the whole team becomes very serious. The driver's office is the place where the simplest longing of drivers hangs out. At today's first stop, where owners have to replenish their strength, Brother Jun smiles as soon as he gets out of the driver's office. Order some meat. Would you like some roast pork? Roast pork, we had a full house. In the afternoon, it was drizzling a bit. Everyone received raincoats, except for me. I had brought my own fishing gear. There were unusual costumes. Huayan was never short of peculiar people. Which model? The wind is too strong on the board, my hat nearly blows away. The owner enters Sheep Jiangyu. The fat sausage here is the best. There are more highway bridges. The general manager, assistant manager Shi Yao, confirms with the general commander the record data from the pre-departure road book. The team must visit every necessary place beforehand to measure the exact data of the road bridges. This bridge is near the extreme of our traffic, so the assistant manager will personally inspect the site. The top and bottom of the road bridges are only 10% apart, making the safety distance very low, so we will slow down traffic. Passing slowly and safely, we reached today's stop, and Junjia was all smiles. After the owners entered the service area, the escorted cars were released, and the drivers, escorted all the way, were as happy as if on a summer vacation, smiling happily. The left escort car went to Jiangyu City to stay at a hotel today, surrounded by old residential buildings. We're in. No stops on the way. Logistics has dry rations for lunch, so they can choose when to head towards Guangwan. If these two cars left a minute earlier, they wouldn't be stuck in traffic for 2 hours. 100 kilometers from Guangwan, the morning sunlight in the cars is nice. We'll let the rear cars go for over half an hour every 2 hours to ease highway traffic. The commanding officer will trek in the forest for a minute while we're on the road. Yes, the driver has begun eating his morning rations and will persist through this mountainous region until reaching the final destination of this journey. China is an infrastructure maniac. 600 tons of vehicles can cross a high bridge. I'm really scared to even think about it, but he actually went through the test successfully and was allowed to pass safely. Soon, he'll be getting off the highway. Now, we're at your favorite part, the demolition of the toll station. The funeral team arrived early to begin demolishing half of the concrete platform along with some of the equipment. The toll booths are movable and were lifted by cranes to the adjacent lanes, allowing them to be used again in the future for access to the station. Hey clerk, your back's empty. It took us 3 days to arrive safely at Guangyuan Nengta Power Station. We spent 3 days traveling to reach the Guangyuan Nengta Thermal Power Station safely. As evening approached, we needed to proceed to the next town, Palin, to stay overnight. We waited for the next day to unload the goods and reach our destination safely. The entire team felt relieved. The elderly are fine, but I'm worried their small faces and legs might suffer. Since the crew is tired of constant running, the 2 wives of last night's drivers were hired externally. Today, we'll repeat the previous shift, moving equipment to the 4-fold split platen and entering the site. The women of Qin China set the iron beyond the sky. This female worker is truly strong and capable. Meanwhile, the men will keep on supporting the other side of the sky. Once we dismantled the bridge, we began the process of moving the equipment over to the hydraulic pressure plate. After taking apart the kiasi girder, we proceeded to relocate the equipment to the hydraulic plate and continued our progress toward the factory. Go ahead. The right side of the station features a type of crane that is unfamiliar to me. I've never seen anything like it before. Even the hooks are specifically designed for this particular equipment. After the equipment is lifted and smoothly moved along the top rail into the enormous plant, our transportation process is safely completed once the equipment is clear from the plate. It's not surprising that it will be challenging for me to gain access to see this location once it's finished, but we should certainly have no issues with utilizing the electricity generated from this facility.